Okay, hello. I am here now. I've unmuted myself. Just making sure that my mic sounds alright. Oh, should we talk about effects today? I think not. I think we're just gonna start. We're gonna start out with the loop browser and audio. I may add effects later, depending on how much we can talk about those things. But we should be able to get a sizable chunk of something done here with just audio, no effects. So let's get. Samuel will be joining late today. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Well, that's all right. Well, the first hour of this will just be kind of browsing the loop browser. He overslept. That's okay. I understand. I had to. I used to be like that, but I had to mold myself into an early riser in college. Otherwise, I didn't make it to class. Yeah, so. And because y'all don't really have school to go to, and yeah, y'all don't really have school to go to, so it's. I understand completely that you would that one of y'all would oversleep. All right. It is 11 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera over. I bring up my effects window. Oh boy, I just moved that around by accident. Alright. Alright. Hello. Hello. Let me. Sorry. Oof. Wow, I'm the only one. Yeah. Well, keep in mind that there will be people, hopefully, there will be people watching after the stream as well. But, I mean, because you are the only one, we're kind of lag a little bit like we did yesterday. See if any others would like to come in as well. But today we're going to be talking about this. I guess in the meantime, you could do a little bit of review, both for those watching now, the one watching now, and for any who are going to are catching up on streams they missed. This will be a quick little review for y'all. So, we're not going to go all the way back to the beginning. We're going to quickly go through this. So, right, we talked about what a DAW is and the piano roll, and we did a lot with it yesterday and the day before. Looking at the piano roll and trying to understand how notes work within it. And it's pretty simple, right? You're used to seeing normal sheet music, or I think you'd be used to seeing normal sheet music, and as opposed to the head telling you how long the note is, and the head plus the flag on the stem, that is, right? All the technical things that notes have values and yada yada. Piano roll is much simpler. The longer the box is, the longer the note is. No need to memorize any weird like symbols. Like if it's got a hole in it, it's a half. If it's got a line, it's a half. But it's not. It's a hole. It's don't need to worry about all that. I mean, we do as musicians. We need to know how to read music, but that is not exactly the subject of the course quite yet. We can much more easily. In my opinion, I prefer seeing notes as a piano roll. And when you see notes this way, you are seeing them as MIDI. which stands for this long. It's an acronym, so it stands for this thing. But what you should understand it as is notes. So MIDI is notes, right? So it's technically also data because it's like the notes length, velocity, and pitch. Just going to make those a nice little frame there. So that's what we're looking at when we're looking at the piano roll. Also, and I'll pull this up in Soundtrap shortly, but there was a little tab here that let us choose between, okay, there was like a mouse pointer. It was kind of just like select stuff. There is a pencil tool. Okay, that is not a stellar drawing of a pencil. Let me do that better. We got a little pencil tool, and we have a V, and then the last one, I believe. What was the last one? Last one is, let's quickly just make a, yes, the delete button. Trash can. That is terrible trash can. Oh. But yes, whenever you're editing notes or whenever you're looking at a string of notes in the piano roll, you have 4 ways of seeing them, or 4 ways of editing them, that is. You have the mouse pointer, which is by default. It just lets you select notes. When you click on them, they will turn whatever color the track is. So, like, for example, let me make some notes here. I'm going to extend this out. And let me make sure that I can hear them. Here we go. MIDI device audio piece connected. I have a audio interface that lets me hear what I'm doing. So, 1 second. Awesome. I believe the stream can hear that too. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay, cool. Let's choose a better sound. Hold on. I like that one. So let's just kind of do this. Alright, just wanted to make a little clip. Alright, so, just to demonstrate some basics of the piano roll. So, again, this is what it looks like. And this red box represents the red box up here, contains the notes, and then within this view you can click on them. I believe you can have the same, oh no. Maybe not. I thought you had a vertical zoom as well. That would be nice. But we do not. But that is okay. You can still see the notes pretty well. You have a vertical zoom up here. See how this track is changing size. But other DAWs, it's different. Here, don't worry about any of the vertical zoom stuff. That's just like something that's I'm used to. And like in other DAWs, I would be able to actually scroll so that the piano would get bigger and I could see the notes larger, or the notes would be taller, so I could select them easier. But that's just it's an Ableton thing. Perhaps I will show a little bit of Ableton tomorrow. I think, or on Friday, that is. Hey, we have someone else, I believe. Let me look at chat. Current viewers. Hey, yes, we do have 2 viewers. Hello. So we were just doing a brief review of things we have talked about over the past 2 days, and I was doing a quick demo talking more about piano roll and looking at notes in piano roll. Let me go ahead and swap back to what I was drawing. So we were talking about the difference between sheet music and seeing notes in sheet music between seeing notes in the piano roll. And I had said that seeing notes in the piano roll is much more intuitive, much easier to think about than having to, tell what the length of the note is based on what shape, based on whether it's filled in or not, or based on whether it has a flag on its stem or is filled in or not. With the piano roll, we don't have to worry about any of these crazy markings and terminology and hieroglyphics that is music. But we do. I say that, yet as musicians, we should probably know how to read sheet music. That would be important, but that's not exactly the subject of what I'm doing here. But right, so in a piano roll, you can see notes as bars, and depending on how long the bar is, that is how long the note is, as opposed to the a filled circle being a quarter note. It's literally the note is a length of a quarter, right? Or is the note as one takes up 1/4 of that bar. I'll show you in Soundtrap. So let me turn on the metronome. So lower these by an octave. Oops, hold on. So let me get a blank spot. One sec. I'm drawing something. Review. I'll just quickly draw out some lines of music here, just to tell you what you are looking at. Okay, I'm just gonna switch to what I'm doing. Show you what's happening. Why am I silent? This is why. Oh god, that is a terrible stem. Oh, I did it again. Let's draw from the top down. There we go. Oh, maybe it should probably be like touching the top bar. That would be smart of me. There we go. That is actually where the D is. Oh boy. Haven't drawn one of these in a while. Treble clef. There we go. It only took me 4 times. So, this is what you were just looking at, and what you were just hearing in piano roll. Whoa, I'm recording now. I did not mean to do that. Whoops. One sec. I pressed record by accident. Now I have to restart this whole thing. Delete. Excuse the hiccup. Alright. Let's get this back into full screen. So, this is what we were just looking at, but in terms of sheet music. So here we have a C, here we have a D, an E flat. Notice that I have the flat here. And then we have another D right afterwards. These are half notes. Two beats. Right, and it's the same for every measure. And then you have half rests that take up the other 2 parts of the beat. So we have 4/4. This takes up 2. This takes up the other 2. Right, rhythm and etc. I think you all know this already, but for those who don't, basic sheet music related stuff, music reading. It's helpful to know some of these things, and I will be talking about a little bit of notes to just so that we have something to compare. Okay, my face is in the way. One sec. Here we go. Nope. Here we go. So, just so we have something to compare to the piano roll, let me go ahead and actually put them on the same screen. So, I will go ahead and zoom in here, just so we can look at them side by side. So, you can see here, on the left, we have a physical piano that tells us and at what height. So you can obviously tell that this one is a C2, so it is a C, just like we have, oops, I covered it over, just like we have here. We have a C, and then we have that taking up the first half of the bar. The bars, by the way, it's automatically in 4/4 time. You see how this line is a little bit darker than the other ones? That is because that is where the measure, or the next measure starts. Yeah. So we clearly have a bar taking up the first half of the beat, and then then silence, no notes taking up the second half, which is equivalent to this half rest being here. Cool. So let's go ahead and play it. You can hear the met. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And let's just say quickly, let's just say that we want these to be quarter notes. I'm going to take the same piece of sheet music that I just drew, copy it over. Whoops, no, that is not what I wanted to do. I'm just going to quickly redraw this as quarter notes. Okay, so I'm filling in the notes. That means we are cutting its value in half. These now become quarter notes. And because we have reduced this note's value, we now have a hole in the measure that we have to fill in. So we have the half taking up 2. We have the quarter taking up 1. And it's convention to put the extra quarter rest that we need. Geez, I never remember how to draw these. I'm just gonna put like a sort of lightning boltish thing. Sort of looks like I need to refresh on, but that is a quarter rest. I remember there was a trick to drawing these, but it's just been so long since I've actually written out sheet music. You can tell. You can tell. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna dot the We're just gonna dot the rest. That gives it an extra half a beat. And we're just gonna call it a day. But this whoops. 3 beats. Oh boy, let's draw that in red. I think that's where the dot goes. Boy. All right. So this takes up 3 beats. This takes up 1 beat. Point of all this, though, is how do we mirror this in the piano roll? Well, very easy. No need to draw in extra rest, extra squiggly lines, figure out where they go, what's the actual convention of placing them there. Maybe we could use a dot instead. Nah. All we need to make these in a quarter notes is this. Just move it back. Just take, I selected all the notes. Notice that they're all red. If it's a different track color, it'll be that color. So I can click and drag to make a selection of multiple notes. I can click on a certain note. By the way, this is when I'm in the mouse pointer mode. There's multiple options. And I've selected all of them. And then I could just click on the end here and drag their lengths out or less out, or farther or shorter. So by taking them back here, notice that they only now take up a quarter of the beat, or a quarter of the space, which makes them quarter notes. Huzzah! Now, let's say we wanted to make quarter notes happen on every half beat, or we wanted to make them happen twice as often. We wanted bum 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 bum. Well, that's extremely easy as well. We already have all the notes selected. See how they're all red. We can Control C, and we can go back here to to where we want to start pasting. So when you select, okay. So what I'll go over what I just did again. I selected all the notes, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and right click for this. Copy. I copied them. And when I copy them, the way you paste them in is you go to the beginning. So the paste kind of starts from where the notes start. So like it'll start pasting from here, and then it'll keep the amount of rest. So like exactly what you see here. And then we're just gonna go over 2 beats, and we're going to paste. And that'll give us double the notes. Gonna go ahead and lower the tempo. Actually, no, let's actually bring it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and select all the notes and bring them down an octave. I'm making like some sort of bass. But this is all review, right? This isn't actually the the real subject of what's happening today. We're going to just keep going down here. Let's see. I want this to be full screen. Okay. So we talked about BPM. I just changed the tempo, so that is a decent kind of review of that. And what the BPM means. How a clock is already 60 BPM by itself because it goes 60 seconds per minute. Right, and then yesterday we talked about how to make a new project and how to do a collaboration. And today we are going to talk more about this one, this spot up here, the loop section. But yesterday I had a little jam session, rhythm beat making session with one of our students, Nate. Yes, using this collaboration feature, and I think it will not only be students, it will be teachers as well. But this has not been the logistics of this has not been worked out. So I'll say next week we'll start having guests, but this week it's all me. So yeah, unless we can get someone Friday, who knows? This is all very new. All this whole BVMP Live thing. But anyway, we've talked about collaboration. It's going to be useful for teaching you guys as well as helping you all. Once we get more than just you two boys registered and getting going with this, we can all collaborate with each other. So it's not just going to be you guys with me. It could be you guys with each other making beats. Just like y'all did at summer camp, and it'll be all fun and hunky dory. But we need more people. Well, they will come as long as we keep it up. We make some cool beats, and we put them out there. I believe that more will show. And plus, y'all could tell your friends too. You know, I enlist your all's help, spreading the word because I would like to teach more. I am equipped to teach many more, but I will gladly teach you too. Anyway, I digress. We talked about that yesterday. We also talked about the beat maker yesterday. I drew up a nice little image. These pictures aren't actually there, but they're more like white boxes that you would select a sample from. And you can add it here at the bottom. And the way that the beat maker works, or the way that you should see it, see the beat maker, is every single cell represents I would call these purple squares cells, and then inside every single cell that's highlighted, it would be selected in Soundtrap. Let me quickly mock this up. German beats, so it brings you right to the patterns, brings you right to this view. I'm going to go ahead and draw the beat I had drawn here. So this is a 2-bar beat because it's got 2 sections of 4. And each of those, let's see, each of those sections of 4 represent one quarter note. So it's like 1, 2. This is like technically, this is half of a measure, I guess you could say. But yeah, so this is all. These are each 16ths. Now I'm not sure. You might be able to change this grid. Just like we did with quantize, how you could change the quantizing grid. I don't actually know this. I wonder if you can change the grid size. It appears no, that we're just kind of working with 16th notes, but it's different in other DAWs, of course. It's all different in other DAWs. This is quite simplified. But I'm going to quickly draw out what I have. Let's do hi-hat there and there. We'll add a crash. I'm actually going to space this one out some more because we can see here that one bar is made up of 4 sections of 4. So, like I said, one section of 4, one square of squares, a 4x4 square, or I guess you could say technically a 4x1 row. So let me just kind of like take out these other two. So this is kind of the easiest way to tell. So one of these rows is 1/4 note, and each cell is a 16th note. Let me go ahead and put a note on there so you can hear what I mean. Let's do a rim shot, maybe. Hi-hat. So I'm going to go ahead and fill them all in. Whoa there. I'm going to make it loop only over the drum beat. And change the sound so it's less annoying. So you can hear this as 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Excuse me. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. I'm counting them out. You may have remembered this from summer camp. You can hear the clicks of the metronome, the clicks of the quarter notes. Click, 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 click. Those are your quarters. Awesome. So let's reduce it just quarter notes now. Maybe we'll do alternating between quarter and 16th. Also check out, notice the purple dots above. Let's see, let's zoom in here. Purple dots above. These tell you at what position your playhead is. So it's the same spot that this purple line is where this purple dot is on. So it's going to tell you, all right, this note's happening next. And you can watch the purple dot progress along, showing you where you are in the beat. As well as that, the notes also light up. So it's pretty clear. I'm going to add some open hi-hats along with it. Don't know what happens with that top instrument there. That's weird. I'm going to copy these two. Apple C, Apple V. Just making some little basic thing I can then go in and find loops from. Oh, and one last thing. This looper, this, what is it? What would I call this technically? The loop track, loop section, loop bar, I don't know what you would like to call it. Loop section, bar, region. Because I don't know the name, because every piece of software that makes music has this functionality in some fashion. It's able to loop a certain section of time over and over, so you could just like focus in and figure that one out without you having to like play a section and then press stop, back it up, play it again. You can just have it go over and over and get it right. So that's what this loop section is for. That you can find up here at the top. You can adjust its length, just like you can adjust the length of any other track by dragging the ends. So, like that. You can also take the whole loop section itself. If you click in the middle here, and you drag over, you can see your cursor turns into a little hand, and you're dragging that to where you need it. And you can see that the playhead loops over and over. I can also click on it, and it turns gray, and the playhead will continue. So very useful to know about this. And when it's on and the playhead is past that, it's a good way to get a certain section of the song playing. Maybe you don't know where this thing is. Turn on the looper section, and the playhead will jump right back to where that is. You could also, of course, use the controls at the bottom to navigate around, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to hop back to the beginning. I'm going to make variations of the beat like I did yesterday, very quickly here. Notice here I have 4 separate clips. I could make this a lot cleaner by deleting these next 3, taking this first one and looping it. That way I only have one beat I have to edit. So if I go in here, edit notes, I can do it in piano roll, or, which I will. I'll quickly do it in piano roll instead of the patterns. It would be much easier to do this in patterns, but we're going to go to the first one. You notice that these other ones are grayed out. That's because they are looped versions of that first clip. So you can't directly like edit these, right? See how I can't select these notes? I can select the first ones. If I wanted to edit something on beat 2, this is a problem I gave Nate yesterday. How could you separate these out and, let's say, like add crashes in certain places, but if you have like a looping clip, it'll add the crash everywhere else. So you could so what you would do is split the clip in half and then make a new clip that's not looping and add the crash there. So for example, you could see that this one is looped. Whoops. Yeah, I know I repeated this ad nauseum yesterday, but I'm only going to talk about it once today, I promise. Do it one time. So let me zoom out again. I zoomed in so I could edit it with the piano roll easier, but you can see here that it's a looped clip. So let's go ahead and let's say we want to add a crash here at the very beginning. I will back up. I go in. All right. I want to add a crash. I don't know where the crash is on piano roll, so I'm going to go into patterns, add it, crash, and add it on beat 1. Notice though, it added not only did it add one on beat 1, it added one on beat 2, 3, and 4. Not beat, measure. This is measure 2, measure 3, measure 4. Beat 2, 3, and 4. Let me clarify this because I want this to be clear. Beat 2, 3, and 4 will be here, here, and here. If you're on like measure 1, this is beat 2 of measure 1, beat 3 of measure 1, measure 2, beat 2 of measure 2, etc., and so on and so forth. So, oh boy, that's interesting. Errors abound. But yeah, we have a crash now where we don't want them. So let's right click on this clip. We can basically cut the clip where we want to cut it. And I will demonstrate. So we put your playhead where you want to essentially snip this clip in half, or wherever you want to snip it. right click, and split region. Now we have a separate region over here, separate, still looped region over here. We're going to edit this one. Edit notes. Let's go down. I can clearly see that the crash is way up here. Select it. Yep, that's the crash, all right. Delete. Oops, wrong one. We want to go for this one. That's because that's in the second half. And you can see that all of the ones afterwards deleted as well. So now we listen. I honestly have no idea what's happening with that track up there. It's like, it's doing weird stuff. Perhaps it's because the resonance is way up, or I don't know. Now that's what we have. Awesome. So, on to, and we might talk about quantize if I ever decide to record something in myself. Quickly, briefly, quantizing. We talked about this at the very end of the class yesterday. This is if you record something in yourself, you can correct your mistakes very easily. And once I do that, I'm not going to do a demonstration of that now because it's kind of in depth. It's kind of something that that takes up a little bit of time to talk about, but it's very easy to do, and we will do it when it comes up when I record something else. But I'm hesitating because today we are going to talk more about the loop section. So we had talked about the collaborators section yesterday, and I got Nate on here. So here's me, and then Nate's icon was right here. All I have to do is invite one of you on, and we can collaborate, and you guys can do this as well. So you can, once you create your new project, you can invite anyone that's within the BVMP group that I create, or that one of us creates, and we'll all be able to share projects within it. Cool. So let's find some loops. So Soundtrap, just like any other DAW, well, perhaps a few other DAWs, come bundled with a lot of pre-recorded sounds, pre-recorded what we call loops. So let me go here. So a loop. So I've been talking about there is the loop section. Let's kind of distinguish between these two things. So when I say loop section, I'm referring to this purple bar up top that lets us, let me just make it all pretty or somewhat filled in so I can draw arrows on top. Boop, boop. So we have the loop. Oh god, that you can't see that at all, can you? I'll draw them gray. That's a little better. So you have the loop section, and then you have loops that you find in the loop browser. Here, let's go like this. Loops, loop browser. And these loops contain audio, right? They can contain audio or MIDI. And we'll see examples of this. So the loop browser has a mixture of audio clips and MIDI clips. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell us which ones are which. It's not that advanced, but we'll be able to easily tell once we load something in whether it's an audio clip or a MIDI clip. Audio clips are nice because they allow us to use sounds that aren't sort of like the preset of instrument packs we have. So like in Soundtrap, we only have so many sounds we can work with. We've got pianos, guitar, bass amp. That's for recording it in yourself. Synth, strings, and brass. Couple basic things, right? If you're really getting into it and you'd like some kind of unique sound or something else to start with, come to the loop browser. So let's kind of take a look around. So up here, we have a bunch of tags. So if you're trying to find something specific within this browser, you can click on this tag, and it will automatically put it in the search bar. So I guess all these really technically are just search queries, recommended search queries. So I'm gonna go ahead. So you would search your loop browser. You search for what you're looking for, or you could just kind of scroll and play stuff, which is what I'm going to do. So it's got, once you open it up at first, it's got featured. So I guess we could listen to some of the featured loops. And you can look at the titles of the loops without even telling. Oh, you know what? In fact, it does. I was wrong. It does tell you whether it's audio or MIDI. I just didn't notice that before. So if it has the bars next to the play icon, so let me quickly draw this out in my iPad here. Zoom out. Oh, this is kind of zooming. So it either has this or it has. Okay, that one sounds kind of nice. So let's drag it in. Ooh, there. And you see here that where was that? Matlips. This was a MIDI clip. So check it out. So you can see here, this was a MIDI clip, and when I dragged it in, it became notes. So all this is just a pattern, and it's on a piano track, and that piano track has certain settings, and it's also in the key. So I haven't yet talked about key yet. Redundancy. But all audio and MIDI clips in Soundtrap have a key associated with them, and as well, this is the same for any piece of music. Well, I always contradict myself because it's always more complicated than you think. But let's say generally, most music has a key associated, a key signature associated with it. So you might be familiar with, let's say, a song in the key of C major, or a song in the key of F major. And what that essentially means. So, like, let's say audio has a key. So, i.e., which means, for example, B flat major, or C major, or I don't know, let's pick another random one. G minor. Let's do A minor. A minor is easier to tell. C major or A minor. I'm going to put them below each other because you may or may not know that C major and A minor share the same notes. B flat major or G minor. And that's a whole subject for another class, talking about keys and their relative keys and all of that. But all we need to know for now is that songs and audio that has a tone to it, has a melody to it, or perhaps a chord progression to it, any type of pitch within it, has a key associated, is playing within a key signature or a let's see, a key. I'm going to go ahead and define it as a selection of notes. Now, a selection from what? What are we selecting from? We're selecting from the 12. Well, there's a lot more than 12. We have multiple octaves of, but we have 12 distinct pitches. So a selection from, I'm going to quickly draw a piano because this seems to be the best way to show pitches, but you know, guitars exist. Lots of instruments can make pitched sounds, but piano seems to be the easiest way to demonstrate these concepts. Oh boy, if I can draw it straight. So, that is our selection. So we have this will be a black key. So, we'll quickly, I'm going to make a couple of copies of this. Well, first I'll draw the notes. Actually, you know these are black keys. G. And then we have D sharp. Oops. Thicker than I wanted it. D sharp, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G flat, G, and so on and so forth, right? G sharp, A flat, A. Okay, well, I have made a terrible mistake. I have made a terrible mistake. Well, I need an extra note in here. Let's quickly, no, don't. Let's add that in. There we go. There's our keyboard. These are the pitches, the notes we have to choose from. And a key is a certain selection of these notes that follows, oops, pattern of all right. Yes, right. So, key you can essentially think of as a selection from 12 distinct notes, pitches that follow a pattern of whole or half steps, right? I'll give you a couple examples. So, very easy one here. Let's start with IE, for example. Bring this down so I have more space. So this would be C major. So let's go ahead and just, whoops. I'm just gonna highlight them. That is a key, a scale. Why am I the only one again? Because the other person left for some reason I do not know. I am not in charge of whether they are here or not. I am here to teach music things and Soundtrap. I do not know, Nate. I am sorry. Alright. Anyways. So this is C major. It follows a pattern. Let's write the pattern down here. So, by a step, I mean from one note to the next. That distance, that is a step. Let's see. So, this first one, and that whether the step is whole or half depends. Whole, 2 notes, half, 1 note. 1 note, 2 notes. So this here is a whole step because it takes 2 notes to get there. Let's see. 1 and 2. Then we have another whole step. And then a half step because it only takes 1 note to get here. That is a half step. And what do we have here? F to G. That is F to F sharp to G. That is another whole step. And then G, G sharp, A. 2 notes, another whole step. And then we have A to B, another whole step. And I guess you could say that it does have one more step, which is a half step. Bruh. I don't know what to tell you, man. Anyway, I don't know what to tell you, Nate. Doesn't pertain to this. But yeah, this is the C major scale, and these are the steps you would take. And then why did I draw an arrow all the way around? And that's because this keyboard just repeats itself, right? So once you get to B, right, it just continues on and keeps going. But this is all, of course, this is all the next octave, right? This is an octave up. Octave up. So I guess you could say, another way to look at it would be like this. So you have your B, and you're actually going to this C that's up here, right? You're actually doing this. But if you want to think about it in terms of like just the 12 notes that you're choosing from, the key signature itself, like C major, is just these 7 notes here. And it's just the pattern whole, whole, half, whole, whole, whole. You may have been taught whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, but you might not have been taught why is there a half at the end, and where do these W's and H's, where do the steps come from, what does it all mean? Well, this is what it means. It's just how many steps you physically jump, and we also could explain the fact that it's major or minor, but there are lots of there are historical reasons to why they are called major and minor. We're going to dumb it down quite a bit. We're just going to say that major is happy sounding. So you could recognize something as major. And then we're going to do a minor scale. Let's do an easy minor scale. Let's see here. Let's choose. Let's get the keyboard again. So this is going to be a minor scale. So let's do... I think we'll do E minor. So, starting on E. There is a pattern that defines a minor scale, but we're going to start with the notes and work our way back like we did with C major. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. So this is the E minor scale. For it to make more sense, I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this again. And I'm going to move parts of the keyboard over that don't start on E. So we'll take these 4 bits here, and we'll put them here. Get rid of this. Put that there. And then we can better understand how you would actually play the E minor scale. But if we look at it like this, these are the notes that it contains within that key signature. So the E minor key signature is just like, let's say C, D, E. Maybe I'll start from A, right? I don't know. Just to show that it's kind of like just a collection of notes. E. But then when you get to the F, that's going to be raised. So that is our key signature. Oops. For E minor. Out of the 7 notes, oops, I forgot G. The 7 notes we have to choose from in a scale, which ones are changed? That is the key signature. But for the scale, so this is a much easier way to look at the scale because we are starting at the beginning of the scale on E, and it goes, so here's the pattern for minor. We went already over the pattern. I didn't have to change the keyboard here because the C major scale starts at C. So we can just go ahead and have that there. I probably should stop talking to the side. I can like talk into the camera. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, let me also get my background a little closer. Much better. All right. This was gonna be a lesson on audio and stuff, but turned into music theory. But this is important because because we need to understand the scales and keys to manipulate that within the audio. So let's keep talking about this because that will play in to using the loop browser. So if we look at E minor in terms of not a key signature, which is just like I guess you could say you would just pull the notes out from the keyboard, you lay them out like this. So this is actually really I think a good way to think of key signatures. So let's go to C major, for example. So what is the key signature? Okay. What does the key signature look like? What does the key signature of C major look like? Well, let's list all our notes from A to G. And which ones are changed? Well, we can see that all of them are on the bottom, so none of them are changed. So this is our key signature, and if you were to, example, write it down on a piece of staff paper or on sheet music, you would have your treble clef, then you have your key signature, then you'd have your time signature, and then you'd have your key signature. Oh boy. It's been a while since I heard music. But yeah, you'll have these things at the beginning. And for E minor, let's say. Actually, I can just copy this, can't I? So for E minor, what's the key signature going to look like? All right. Now, you might ask, hey, if we're going to be using the piano roll and using the loop browser and not even touching sheet music with the 10-foot pole, why are we covering it now? Why are we learning what key signatures are now? I would say it's important to know what they mean, why they are drawn on sheet music, why are key signatures even a thing to begin with, and then once we know that, once we know why they are even marked down in the first place, then we can think, okay, so songs can have different keys, and we need to make sure that everything is in the same key and is using the same notes, including the notes that you play yourself. As long and for that to work with the audio, so we need to know that we are under one key signature, or else things are going to notes are going to clash together and sound bad. We want everything to have the same set of 7 notes, therefore things gel together better. So it's important to know that we are working with a set of 7 notes rather than all 12. Now, there are exceptions to the rules. Rules in music are made to be broken, but they're made to be broken carefully. They're made to be broken intentfully. Otherwise, it just sounds random and garbo. Anyways, back to key signatures. So let's see, what would it look like? What would the key signature of E minor look like on staff paper? Well, we have our set of notes A to G. F is changed, F sharp. So let's go here. Let's find where F is on, you may or may not remember, but the F is right here. I think you draw it on, yeah, you draw it right here. So you'll draw a little sharp symbol on the line that the F note is on. So this is like, right, F, A, C, E. Right, I'll kind of just draw that out. So we'll put our little sharp here. That means that means whatever you can draw, you can have any melody in here. Let's pretend you have a bunch of notes, a string of notes afterwards. You have like a piece of music, and you have a bunch of notes, a melody, in C major. And you wanted it to then be in E minor. Then what you could do is you just take the very beginning and you just change the key signature. So now every, so you have like a little, I'm gonna actually just draw this out some. And then I'll do the same thing in Soundtrap. So let's say you got a little 2-bar melody here. I drew that stem the wrong way. So let's say you've got a little, a 2-bar melody. F, A, C, E, D, C, B, B, A. So let's do that in here too. I'm going to mute these other tracks just so we can just work with that. 2 bars. I'll do it in piano roll. I'm not even going to bother recording it. I'm just going to draw it with the pencil tool. So we want to find an F. An A. A C. An E. D. C. B. A. So now we can hear that. Let's see, let's back out so I can get the loop section over it, so you can hear it over and over. So this is, oops, I did it again. One sec. I have to reset my QuickTime player. So, okay, we can get rid of this too. So that's what the melody is, right? But this is in C major because it's using only white keys right now. Only using F, A, C, E, D, C, B, A. No sharps, no flats. If we wanted to make it in, if we wanted to take this same melody, then let me go back here. So what you're hearing now, this doesn't exist. There is no key signature. It is in the key of C major. And here you can see, oh, we're actually in the key of D flat minor because this was that was brought on by the other loop, but we'll talk about that in a minute. You can see here we have, this is why I was talking about this so much. Down here at the bottom, right next to tempo. These are the numbers, the values that will keep your song together. You have the tempo that makes sure everything is at the same speed. And then you have your key that makes sure everything uses the same notes. So let's go in, and we have our melody is currently in C major. So let's go and select C major. It should be the same thing. Ah, you know what? It transposed it. And now why would that be? Because you notice that beforehand, the key was D flat minor for some reason. I think it was because we brought in this piano melody and it actually changed the key of the project to D flat minor. So when I made this melody and I transposed it to the key of C, it actually changed the notes I had written and put it in the key of C. But it's not right. So let's go ahead and re-record it. Now that we're in the correct key first, so make sure that you set your key first before you record anything. And if you do have something that's in another key, you can change it. So let's quickly get that back in. F, A, C. That's a D, so I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to select it and drag it down. E, E, and then D, C, B, A. Oops, this is more spaced out than it should be. I'm playing them as half notes. Just gonna drag them into place. Select, move, select, move, select, move. Make the region smaller. Now we got it right again. So then we don't even need to worry about what notes we should change it to. Once we go into the key of, let's do F sharp minor, because that's what we are, or no, excuse me, E minor. It transposes it. Now it doesn't transpose it in exactly the way I think it would. Yeah. Interesting. But yes, it will transpose your MIDI notes. So be careful that if you're playing something, I guess then it's important to know a little bit about what you're playing in before you just kind of let Soundtrap do all the transposition for you. But let's go ahead and look at a couple keys and see what it transforms it to. Let's go to F. so it will not shift the notes. It's just going to transpose them up or down. We are both flirting once again. We start on F, right? Okay, so let's assume then. I think it would be right then if I made this a C. If I made it start on C. I'm gonna quickly change the melody. So now, this isn't right. Actually, this is right. This will. Okay. Now that I clearly understand what it's doing, let me kind of do this demonstration over the right way. So, oops. Let's get this up a little more. Maybe I can select all the notes without selecting the bar. Maybe I can move the bar up. Aha! Trickery. Alright. Oh, we didn't get these. So this is what we have now. We have C, oops, C, E, G, B, A, G, F, E. And when we transpose it into E minor, we should, let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Let's go into C minor, or let's go into C major. Let's fix the melody again. Okay. So that we are listening to this right now. Now let's change the key into F sharp minor. And what do we get? We get it transposing up to F sharp. Oh, F sharp. I chose F sharp. I wanted to choose E. So that's not exactly minor because it's using. So okay, so maybe this key thing is not as versatile as I thought, but not with. It's not as versatile as I thought with MIDI, but it will be very, very useful when it comes to audio. So when you're playing in MIDI and you want it to be within a certain key, you want to make sure that you have the key set first, and then you play the correct notes in. Or choose one that already has the right notes, right? So a little bit of music theory is needed to understand to like, all right, I'm playing in C major, so I should only use these notes to play with. Or I should only choose something in the loop browser. Let's choose something in the loop browser. Let's stop talking about this. I'm going to delete this crappy melody. Yes, it is crappy. I said it. Let's choose something. That's kind of nice. Let's listen to our song quickly. Let's listen to other tracks. Ooh, everything got transposed because I changed the keys around. Let's make this a bass. Alright, something to go with that. Now let's make sure that we choose one that has the little audio icon next to it, because the transposition, the key, will work much better with audio. I will demonstrate. Let's choose something that goes with this beat. I was thinking that kind of like metal guitar worked nice. Well, we have one that's already in E minor. Let's just use that one. But actually no. Let's say you have one. Let's say you have one in a different key that you want to be E minor. Let's drag in the G minor. So this is damped comp in G. Yep, damped comp G. So. Now, let's say that this is like your global, I guess you could say this is like your global transposition down here. Let me quickly, sorry, one sec. I want to just quickly go back in, because I see here that you can, okay. Change pitch. Tune transpose. Aha. Okay, so there's change pitch and then there's transpose. Okay. Okay, never mind. So, here is where the real power of this key signature comes in. Once we look at any audio clip, if you right click on any audio clip and you go down here to transpose, you see you have a bunch of the same key options. Up here on the top, you have keys you've recently, I think keys you recently used. This might even be relative keys. Huh. But let's look down here at the bottom. So, currently, this track, you can see G is selected. When I dragged it in, it already knew that the track is in G. This audio clip is in G. Rest of my project is in E minor, as you can see here. So let's go ahead and transpose it to E minor, and let's hear what the difference is. We're in G. Let's go to E minor. It changed. I'm going to undo it so you can hear the difference. Also, I'm going to raise the volume because it might be a little quiet. So this is E. This is after the change. You notice it says E minor here. Go back to G. Right click, transpose to E minor. Like magic, it has changed the note. And keep in mind, this is with recorded audio as well. This is not like a clip that you can go in and edit the notes in. This is actually like someone's guitar that was recorded in with a microphone, and you could go in and you can change the key it was played in. This is very, very powerful. So you might not entirely understand how powerful that actually is, but maybe later on, once you've played, if you do decide to, if you play more music and make more music within certain key signatures, you'll start to tell, okay, well, if the DAW can just change stuff's key for me, then I can use material, I can use audio that has any pitch, any key, and I can adapt it and I can edit it, I can make it work with the beat. That's really cool. I think that's really cool. You can use any piece of audio, anything. You can make it into a drum, make it into an instrument. All you gotta do is retune it. And you can see here, Soundtrap makes it very easy. this might not have been the best example for that kind of way of thinking, like you would use any piece of audio, but I think you'll see what I mean. I'm going to, on Friday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do some more Soundtrap related stuff. But on Friday I'm going to show a different DAW. I'm going to show my own DAW, and we'll do some more advanced, like, I'll show you what DAWs are capable of, I guess you could say. So like this, the version of this DAW on steroids. But coming back, so we got a nice guitar track now that's transposed within the key. Now, however, you notice that this bass line, I've got a bass line that's going E, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, F sharp. So we kind of want the guitar to do the same thing as well, right? It's just staying on E, but I would like the guitar to go E, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, F sharp. Very easy to do. All I'm going to do is go in and I'm going to split the clip at every new measure. So I'm going to go here, right click, split region, right click, select the region again, right click, split region, right click, split region. So now we have 4 distinct regions, and we can go in and transpose every region separately. So before we had done this part in E minor, now we can go here and do this part in F sharp or G flat, right? The same thing, G flat minor, and then we can do this one in G minor. Then we can do this one in, yep, you can see it's working, and you can do this one in F sharp or G flat minor again. Let's hear what that all sounds like. So now this should change pitch with the bass. Just hear just that though. There it goes. It's changing pitch. Let's hear it with the bass. Also, right here at the bottom. Sorry, not bottom. I meant the left. This is how I'm. I guess I could go over sort of like everything in this view. I might as well while I'm here. Just kind of go from left to right and look at everything in a track. So we have the icon, and we might have, I believe before we have said the icon, when you click on it, it brings up the info about that track. So, or closes the info about that track. So here it is just a basic amp, clean voice. This is an audio track. Next to that, we have a little R button. This is useful for MIDI tracks. Right now, notice that the R on the grand piano track is selected. That means whenever I press my computer keyboard and I have it on so that I can hear it, once I have it on that I can hear it, whenever I play my computer keyboard, it's going to play that track. So even though I have electric guitar dampened selected right now, you can see it's wider than the others. This R is on. This R means record ready. Let me draw that. So parts of a track. Parts of a track. And we have the icon. We have record ready button. We have the volume knob, which does what you think it does. We have the solo button. We have the mute button. Oops, I drew that wrong. And we have the automation button, which is an entirely different day. And then we have the 3 dots, which gives us more options. So, let's go from left to right. I have drawn it out on the iPad. Haha. Yes. That is what all this size was for. So we have the icon. Click to show track info edit. Right? And then we have the R. This is the record ready button. So this is either engaged or not engaged, off or on. When it's on, it's red, and when it's red, that means whenever you play, will receive notes. So whenever you play your computer keyboard, you are essentially sending notes. You are sending MIDI to Soundtrap, and then on any tracks that you have this R enabled, those tracks are going to receive the MIDI that you send and play the notes, play the instrument that's on that track. So let's go ahead and create a new track. Let's create a string. And notice how we can select more than one track at a time. We can have this one in record ready, we can have this one in record ready, and then whenever I play a note, oh, and they also have to be both. English. I also have to be able to hear both of them. Jeez, that sentence was a chore. But yeah, so we have solo and mute. Let me quickly talk about what these do, just so that I am not stumbling over myself. So next to those, we have volume, and then we have solo, and then mute, and then automation. So these two are tied together, mute and solo. So essentially, when you solo a track, only hear this and mute all others. So if you had like a bunch of tracks, for example, these are tracks, pretend these are tracks, blah, boom, 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 with volume knobs, right? And then solo, mute buttons. So copy, paste. When you solo a track, so let's say you solo this track. Oops. And that will result in this track being soloed, this track being audible. Oops. And then all of these being turned on. Whoops, not that one. Except that one. So whenever, whenever I solo a track, that is going to turn off all the other tracks except the one that's soloed. And then when you turn it off again, it won't leave these other ones muted. So let's do this. Oops, I'm recording. I didn't want to be recording. Excuse my technical incompetence. Alright. Just want to show this. So let's show it in Soundtrap. I'm gonna get rid of all this stuff. Unsolo, unsolo, unsolo. Mute, mute. So we got our headphone icons. I'm going to zoom in here. Headphone icons, mute icons right next to them. So if I only want to hear electric guitar, solo, you notice that all of the other mute icons get selected automatically. And then when I unsolo, they all are now audible automatically. So you don't have to solo, unsolo, unmute, 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 unmute. You don't have to manually do all that. Solo does it for you. Or if you press mute by itself, it will turn off that track. And here's the catch. If you have muted something exclusively, like if you have said, all right, I want this track to, I don't want to hear this track anymore. Mute. When you solo another track that mutes all the other ones, you might think, okay, doesn't unsolo unmute everything else? Not the one you clicked. So this is very handy. So let's say you want to have a track there, but you want to turn it off and just keep working with other tracks, soloing and unsoloing. You can do that. It's kind of like, you could think of it as like hard muted. It's like it's manually muted until you manually turn it back on. So once again, you can see it is immune to that solo turning everything else back. Cool. So in that respect, and also we could solo more than one track at once. So solo, solo. So now we can hear the strings and the piano. Everything else is muted. Cool. So to demonstrate the concept I was going to talk about, multiple tracks being record ready at the same time. So I'll go ahead and select these two. I'll just zoom in on what I just did. So I clicked R on both tracks. Both of them are soloed, so I can hear them both. And I press on a key. We have a piano/string hybrid. Let me make sure my MIDI keyboard's connected. MIDI device. Okay. My keyboard is acting very strange. Oh well, I'll just use my computer keyboard then. So you can layer things that way. You can make like layered instruments. So I can go in and maybe change string section to orchestral. Let's see how that sounds. Cool. So that is layered instruments. Go back and listen to what we have, so maybe we can make something meaningful, some unmeaningful addition. Perhaps we can layer this one with something else. Let's throw... So I'm going to copy this track, this MIDI track that I had grabbed from the loop browser. And... Oh no, don't copy it back onto itself. I'm going to select a different track, go to the beginning, and paste. Now we have that same track on a different, or same MIDI on a different track. Let's choose a different instrument for that. Maybe a synth. I guess Big B. Oh. That's kind of perfect, actually. Yeah, this could go somewhere. This could actually go somewhere. I think. All right. So we've covered muting and soloing, unmuting, volume. We're gonna cover pan more and reverb more once we go into effects and mixing. But that's gonna be later on. We're still in just the getting music on the page phase. We're not gonna worry about getting it to sound affected. We can do effects. We might do a little bit of effects tomorrow then. I think that's what we could do. We could do audio and stuff today. But before we're going to wrap up in like 20 minutes here. Let's find some more audio clips to mess with. So let's search for something else. I'm gonna take out the feature tab, so now we can see a couple more tags. I'm gonna move my face out of the way. So let's choose beats, and we'll choose an audio, a drum beat that's made of audio to work with instead of MIDI. I like these beach ones. I do. I like this one especially. Okay, double click on it, throws it right in, and it also matches up right in your loop section. Whoops, I need to click in here. I like that. Let's put it next to the other drums. Oh, also, organization is a thing we can do. You see these little dots at the very right side of the track. You can click on these dots and you can do things like rename the tracks. You can duplicate them, import MIDI files. So if you played something in another DAW, but this is something you probably won't end up doing, but is a thing you can do. Export, you can also, if you have another DAW on your computer, you can export the MIDI you've played into Soundtrap into that other DAW. You can export all of this and just kind of move it around as you want. But what I'd like to do is change the color. So I'm going to change the colors of all of my drum tracks to what I prefer is red. So red. That's kind of the red, the most red we have, isn't it? Wow, you only give us 10 colors? Lame. Okay, then we'll choose this kind of magenta-ish one. So now both of our drum tracks are the same color. Put them at the top. This is kind of a bass, so we'll make it a I'll make it a purple, a dark purple. And then we'll make the piano tracks a nice green. And then we'll make our guitar track, let's say a yellow. The strings kind of go with the will go with the piano, so we'll put that next to the piano. Why is my MIDI keyboard not working? Anyways. Let's maybe extend it out so we have more room, so that we're not just kind of piling everything into 4 bars. Let's actually start. Let's drag it out. Let's give ourselves some more room. I'm gonna copy this exact thing here. Maybe we'll make the crash happen here instead, and I'll just extend the loop region out instead. Yeah, that covers it over good. And maybe I'll make the beach come in later and extend the bass. Maybe make this second layer to the piano come in later. Guitar, I'll just take this whole bit, select everything. Another easy way to copy things, this is the way I prefer copying things. Instead of right-click, copy, right-click, paste, what I like to do is hold down the Option or the Alt key and just drag the clips where I want them. So, drag. That didn't work the first time. Hold on. drag. There we go. It copies all four of them. Don't even have to go through the whole process. Can just do it in one or two key press and a click. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of just to kind of finish this little beat off. We're going to talk a little bit about the very last section here in the track that I said we'd save for another day. I just want to do a little bit of it today, just a little introduction. So we got our solo, we got our volume knob, our headphones, which is our solo, our mute, and then next to that we have this little like graph thing. It says show hide automations. So automations allows you to change a very select amount, a very select few, but some parameters over time, some qualities about the sound over time, and make transitions. It's very good for transitions. So one thing I'd like to do is I'd like the electric guitar to start out low and then fade its way in. So let's do that with automation. So I'm going to come here to the electric guitar track, and I'm going to show or hide automations. So now we have an additional, that creates an additional track underneath this track, which is kind of like attached to it. So if I move this around, you can see that the automation is attached to that track. I can show or hide it like a folder. Let's move it back to where it's going. Automation. So we have several things we can do. Pan. We'll talk about that later. Sweep. And volume. Volume is basically what it says on the tin. It changes this knob, makes it quieter or louder. Now that's good for fades. But what I'd like to do is sweep. This is the most interesting one. Sweep. It has 4 modes. Whoa, no, actually that is 1, 2, 3, count them. 5 different modes you can choose from. This will allow you to make easy transitions. So muffled. Let's just kind of listen to what they all do. So all the way up, what does muffled sound like? Nothing. Let's turn it down. So you'll notice here it creates a line, and we can click any point on that line, creates a dot. And then we can click anywhere else in the line, and we can create some sort of shape. So let's draw in a ramp that goes up. Maybe it starts kind of around here and comes up to maybe we'll make it for the most part down, and then it comes up at the end. So what does that sound like now when I've changed? So what does that sound like? It's lower. It's a filter. We'll talk more about what filters are, but it makes it lower. And then listen, when it gets to here, comes out, right? Comes up. I'm going to copy the audio over. Copy some of the beat over. Just want to hear like a basic transition. Unsolo. Cool, eh? And then maybe another beat would come in here or something like that. Or maybe even beach would come in. You hear the guitars kind of filtered down, comes out. Bring out the loop region. More automation here. You get the idea. So automation's good for making transitions, especially the sweep modes. And we'll get into more uses of it as we progress further in making a song. Alright, so let's find another track that we can mess with. Let's look for something tonal. Let's look for something with pitches. Rock. Because we got this guitar going on. Let's see if there's anything in here that maybe will help us support what we got going on. So we got lots of drums. We don't want drums. Electric guitar. That might be useful. Let's put that here. We're gonna want to, it's looping, so we don't want it to loop. Maybe we want to transpose it because it's in G. We want it to be an E, so let's make it, oops, that's not what I wanted. We want it to be E minor. Changes the pitch, and let's hear it. Let's turn off the loop region so we're not repeating that other stuff. Using automation, we're going to make that fade out at the end. So that will be along with other things. Let's hear how that sounds. Maybe we'll have it come down and then come back up. And other stuff could be happening here, like we could have a drum fill. We talked about drum fills. That right here would be a real nice spot to put one of them drum fills. Something like that, you know? Maybe even we'll go into our loop browser. We could find some sort of effect, some sort of like noise that's like whoosh, like a whoosh sound that would lead us in. We have so many options of bass lines, drum beats, places to start, really. I mean, you could throw in this bass line and then start playing MIDI notes on top of it. Oh, that's nice. Man, these are all just nice, aren't they? Okay, cool. Let me throw that in maybe later on. I like how that sounds. I went back to the beginning because I had my looper on. I want to see if I can make this work. Let's go. I'm going to have it start at bar 16. We're going to split it. Whoops, that's not the split command. I think it's E. Yeah. Apple E. We'll make it fade in. Yeah, a little bit. We'll make it fade in a little bit. And yeah, I could go on. But I would rather not use too much time. Like this, I could do this all day. Let's go ahead and quantize this region so that we aren't dealing with that crash, the missing crash. There we go. Let's find a beat that's kind of like a kick snare. Kick snare, just something real simple. Let's do involved. But it isn't. It is in E. Maybe. That's not strong enough. That's pretty strong. I mean, it is the strong flavor after all. Alright, let's throw that in. Boop. Let's put it at the bottom. We're going to close down these automations so we can see stuff better, because it starts to get pretty crowded when you add automation. I can close them down by clicking on the little icons here. You can see the line still on it, so it tells you that there is some automation going on. I'm going to move strong flavor to the top, and notice it's already a drum color. That's nice. Let's gonna throw it in here, maybe, and then this on top. Let's see how it sounds. First of all, crash. I need the other crash option. Drag. There. Nice. Let's make this one magenta as well. Maybe the volume automation could be a little lower. Come in, come down. Nice. I think we'll leave that for next time, because that is a pretty fat beat right there, and it's got a lot of potential. Thinking about anything else that I'd like to cover today. We have gone over key signatures. We've gone over everything and more. Mostly the key signatures. This is like an important thing. So I'm gonna kind of bring that back up. Ooh, voice crack. I'm gonna bring those back up real quick. Just the stuff I drew. A really good takeaway I think for today is thinking about these key signatures and what these all mean. Right, when you have a project in E minor. Basically, when you select this key down here, everything that you... Well, no, never mind. I digress. I was going to say everything in this loop browser transposes, but it does not. You will end up transposing them by right-clicking on... Like I did with this electric guitar, you can edit, transpose, move it to a different key whenever. But it's important to know, like, what are those keys? What... When I want something to sound a certain way, when okay, I want this to mirror this E. I was just getting this thing to go along with this track. In fact, I could probably just move it right next to it to show. Yes, this is meant to mirror this. And we go in here. You can see E. So I wanted this to match E. So I had to make this clip E minor, right? So. And if you don't know that, like, I can tell what pitches things are because I have perfect pitch. I'm not bragging, but it's just like sometimes it's tough for me to explain that like some things are a certain note and they need to be another note for it to work. Thankfully, though, Soundtrap tells you most of the time when you go to find a clip. It will tell you what key it's in. See? So it tells you it's in E minor when you load it up. Even if it doesn't have, like right here, piano, vibration 2. Even if it's an audio clip, load it up, it'll be in E minor. Piano trill, load it up, it'll be in E. This is an E major clip. So you can see here in the project. Whoops. Oh boy. It tells you. See? Right here. E. So there's no guesswork involved. And in fact, I think In fact, what I was telling you, I think was correct. That yes, you select a global key down here, and any loop you grab in the loop browser will be in that key already. So the only thing you really need to worry about is it in major or is it in minor? Because there are notes that conflict between major and minor that won't sound great together unless you really know like what that clip is, what it's doing, what intent do you have when you're putting a clip in a certain place. You're not just kind of spam. We gotta avoid the spam. We have to avoid spamming things in, making too much happen at once. Like Nate with the drums. We gotta be careful. We gotta just pace ourselves, you know. Talk about one thing at a time, and work with one thing at a time. And once you get practice doing this, you'll actually start to come up with ideas faster. You won't just get faster at making the stuff, making the music happen, putting stuff down in the DAW. You'll get faster coming up with what to put in the DAW as well as you start to listen to more loops and more tracks. It's like, oh, well, you'll start to get an idea. And this is something that I can't really teach you because this is something that you develop yourself. It's your own taste, your own preferences. You start to develop that when you listen to more and more loops. And then you can start to play those things. You can start to play your own melodies, your own loops. Like, I have listened to so many loops now and listened to like so many samples now that I just play my own stuff because I know what I want it to sound like. And I use those other loops to kind of just like accentuate that. Right? It's got to start with you. So just keep that in mind. So all these clean tracks here down at the bottom. Need to clean up my track. Delete. I can delete a track by clicking on the dots. But yeah, I don't think there's much more to cover today. It is 1 o'clock, after all. Not that that's necessarily the ending time, but I think 2 hours is probably like a good. I think that's like a good amount per day. I hope y'all agree with me because that will do it for today's stream. Come back tomorrow and we will be talking more about putting a song together and effects, more about automation and just general fun stuff. Make sure, please ask questions too. I'm curious. I will always answer questions. I would love to have more things to talk about because I don't really know what y'all are interested in, but I think it would be wise for you to maybe explore this a little bit on your own, and then when you run into things that you don't know how to do, come here tomorrow, ask me questions. I will help you become better at doing music stuff. Cool? Cool. Alright. So, the next stream will be tomorrow at 11. Please make sure to tell your friends, tell everyone you know that is somewhat interested in music. I need to heat up my coffee. Let's see, 104. I think this is pretty good. So before I go offline, Nate, you have any questions? Anyone of the two of you that are still here, any questions that I can answer? Yes. Any questions, guys? If not. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. My mom says, "Thank you for teaching us." Oh, well, you're welcome. I'm glad to be doing stuff for BVMP, and I'm glad to be teaching stuff that I love to do. And I hope you all will love it too. And yeah, you're welcome. Okay, I'm going to end it here then. Come back tomorrow.